Misfits, people ask me all the time about tools that I use in my life and business to maximize my success. I usually start by telling them one of my most powerful tools is my morning habits. And of course, they look at me somewhat confused. I then explain how important it is for me to center myself and how I begin my day and plan for my success. It's critical to consistent high performance. And it doesn't take me long, about 5 or 10 minutes, because I use a great resource called the 5-Minute Journal. The 5-Minute Journal is the simplest, most effective way I've ever found to start your day in the right mindset, doing the right things, and set yourself up for success. And it is exactly what it says, a 5-minute exercise you can do each day. Let me ask you, if you could reach your next level in your life and business by spending just 5 minutes of focused time a day, would you do it? I bet you would. And I know it works because I've experienced the power of it. And you can get your 5-minute journal simply by going to www.misfitentrepreneur.com/journal. That's misfitentrepreneur.com/journal. Do what I do. Use this amazing resource to give yourself an edge in your performance and your success. Get your 5-minute journal today. Hello, Misfit Nation. This is Dave Lucas, and welcome to another episode of the Misfit Entrepreneur, where it is our job to help you unleash your inner misfit and break through to higher levels of success, wealth, and fulfillment by bringing you the best insight and information from the world's top entrepreneurs, with a specific focus on their misfit side, the specific traits, habits, and secrets that have allowed them to thrive and succeed. This week's Misfit Entrepreneur is Kirk Cooper. Kirk is the founder of Ecom Automation Gurus, EAG, a company that creates turnkey Amazon stores for entrepreneurs. He is a former high school teacher who looked to entrepreneurship to fund his dreams. He loved teaching and coaching, but it wasn't going to pay him what he knew he could be worth. In 2013, after succeeding in flipping some real estate, Kirk started investing time in Amazon and selling online. He spent his evenings tinkering and eventually created an almost $50K per month business on Amazon. He perfected the model over time and started Ecom to help others do the same. And now he has done so with clients all over the world to the point where his business is worth over $50 million. I bet you can guess why I asked him on the show today. I'm excited for him to share his secrets and his process of how he does what he does, and he built his business, and really how to create a fully automated online business. So Kirk, are you ready to unleash your inner misfit?
Dave, I'm pumped, man. Let's go.
Oh, hey, it's great to have you on. You have such an awesome story because you were doing something you loved, but you just knew that it wouldn't get you to that level that you were capable of. And so you essentially pivoted from a career and found this new one. And it's just a great story. So take us through that. Take 5 minutes or so and just tell us, how did you get to where you're at?
Well, that's exactly it. I really want to highlight that I did. Absolutely. I love teaching. I love coaching. I mean, I came from those roots. You know, my dad was a teacher and coach. My grandpa was a teacher and coach. We had other teachers, within the family. So it's kind of like, it's what I knew. And I made it kind of like I don't want to say life's mission, but I really passionately wanted to find a different avenue and kind of create something different for myself and my future. And it wasn't because out of any disrespect, but I just kind of felt like teaching and coaching would have been the easy thing for me to do because I just knew it. I hung around, my dad's sports teams as he was coaching, and I was a, young up and coming elementary, then middle school, and then eventually high schooler. And I just eat, sleep, breathe, sports and being around that environment. But as I progressed and led into being a collegiate athlete and having success at that level, I really kind of found that, what brought me there were my experiences in, my educational and sports experiences. So I figured it'd be really cool to be able to go back, give back, be a motivator, somebody that can inspire others and let kids know that, there's opportunities for them out there if they can, leverage their athletic ability and their ability to be successful students and good people. Athletic scholarships are, they're out there, and not too many people, leverage those to get their degree. So fast forward, got into the teaching and coaching space, had success in both the teaching and coaching side, had some really good track teams that I coached. I also coached some golf and then football early on. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't fulfilling my inner entrepreneur spirit. Like I've always kind of been an entrepreneur and had that entrepreneurial drive. I've always wanted to be able to, one, help people, but two, make money and be able to have time freedom. I didn't want to chain myself into this employment slavery and work until I was 60, 65 years old. And then to be on, the last couple of quarters, right? And then be able to then fit in all the fun things that I want to do in life.
Right.
I wanted to be able to work for myself, but two, help other people create additional streams of income. And in turn, for myself, be able to create more time freedom by building out a system and an operation that doesn't rely on me to be present every single day. Being able to leverage a team, grow, scale, and automate opportunities for hundreds of people to make a trickle, even if it's $500 a month, 1,000. We got people that make 10, 15, 20 grand a month. We've had people November and December make $90,000 in a month because their stores just absolutely explode. So for me, I'm still teaching, I'm still coaching, I'm still motivating, I'm still inspiring, but on a whole nother level, on a level that I'm able to spend more time with my family and enjoy life and the freedom that comes with it. So that's essentially in a nutshell how it's progressed. And I just had to kind of break away and create something for myself and in turn create it for others.
So, what was the secret? What did you figure out on how to do this? Because there's a lot of people out there that go try to mess around with Amazon and online stores and stuff that don't have the success that you've had and be able to help others with. So, what was the epiphany maybe, or the secret? What was it that you figured out that led you on this path and helped you have this success?
Yeah. So, I mean, failing was a big part of getting to this point. Failing was absolutely a big part of it. I had a small little business that a buddy of mine, and I put together where we were creating and customizing baseball bracelets. So they were little leather bracelets with the laces on them. So it looked like a seam of a baseball. We could customize it for team names, logos, slogans, whatever. And basically we offered them to people as kind of like a fundraiser for them. They could purchase 100,000, 2,000 of them for $1, $2 a piece and sell them for whatever they wanted to mark them up. But the thing was I was teaching and coaching. I couldn't, and I refused to come away from my safety blanket and actually go out and pound the pavement and put myself in front of organizations, team moms, dads, coaches, whatever it might be, to really present this product where we could get people, placing orders from across the country or world for that matter. I was too afraid to go into that world of entrepreneurship full blast. So I was clinging to my safety blanket that I never actually got that scarcity mindset cleared to go out and produce it, where I still believe that that model or that business opportunity could be very successful, and if I had that additional time to go out and really tackle it, I think I would nowadays, but I failed. And for me, I needed to find something that, okay, I can hold on to my security blanket and create an opportunity. So for me, that ended up being, hey, I'm going to get into this e-com space. I'm going to spend 10 p.m. till God who knows, what time in the morning, and just grind away. I'm going to teach myself. There's going to be trial. There's going to be error. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. And I went through that entire process, and it really didn't take me too long to start sniffing success. Had a couple hiccups early on that I think anybody would have while starting. And, it's more about product selection and then how to optimize and present the product to the masses. But after catching my stride, it started to take off, and it got to the point where I worked myself into another form of employment slavery, because when you run an online store individually, you got to work it 7 days a week. You've got to be able to fulfill orders on Sundays. You've got to be able to respond to customer inquiries on Saturday nights when you might want to be out with your family, your friends. And I got to the point where I was like, hey, I'm making some great money here, but all of a sudden now I'm working harder than I've ever worked in my life. So at that point, I took a step back and went to, the interviewing process and started interviewing a small virtual team of 6 guys, and got it to the point where I trained them over the course of 3 months, 3 nights a week for about 4 hours a night, sharing my screen, talking, teaching, coaching. And then after that, I spent a full month where I, moved to the back of the classroom and watched those 6 engage, work, and operate my personal store before I cut it loose and allowed them to run it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So they were going into different shifts, was no longer being run 4 hours a day. It was being run all day, every day. The income and revenue exploded. I was making more money. I was in turn being able to pay a team who was then making great money, and things grew exponentially. And that's where we made the decision, hey, let's slowly grow this team and offer this to 10 select people for 2 years to really run a trial run. And it was wildly successful. And that's where we are today.
So take us through that then. It's a great segue into just talking about the business itself. So give us the details. Take us step by step, like what you do for a client and how the business works.
Yeah, so I'd say 95% of our clients have no history or real clue on how to run or operate an e-commerce store. They're coming to it as a investment or a business opportunity to invest into passive income. We do have a few people that have had experience and have their own products, and we kind of hybrid it out. But typically they come to us, we decide on a business model. 95% of our clients choose to drop ship. So that is an option where they can, choose holding inventory, selling on different platforms. But Amazon and drop shipping end up being their biggest turn on and attractant. So from there, our job is to do all the product research, product listings, all the customer support. We fulfill the order. So when an order comes in, we go to the supplier, purchase the product, have it shipped directly to the customer. And our clients is the business owner. So the money and the payouts go to them. It's going into their bank account, and we just are a contractor at that point, leveraging our history and our experiences and our success in a platform, and our ability over time to continue to grow, mold, scale, and build out different automations within our service to allow them the best chance of success in making money passively in the e-commerce space.
So basically, they can outsource the end-to-end whole thing, like done for you, to you, essentially,
Yeah,
to e-com.
that's exactly
right.
Right. Yeah,
And so,
exactly.
All right. So with that being said, then well, wait. I'll come back to that question because when something sounds too good to be true, as they say, it usually is. But once in a while, there is something that is actually that good, and I want to come back to that in a second. But before I do, talk to us about Amazon itself. Like, talk to us about selling on Amazon. What should people know? And then you mentioned drop shipping. A lot of people do like what's called fulfilled by Amazon. That's where a lot of people start, but it's not necessarily something you advise. So tell us why, tell us about it selling on Amazon, what we should know, and then why drop shipping versus Amazon FBA.
Yeah. So, I mean, first and foremost, Amazon is obviously their own entity, they're a behemoth, they're huge. So it's nothing about it is guaranteed. And I'll be the first person to tell that. I'm not here to be a slimy salesman whatsoever. It needs to be known that just like any investment, there's risks. And then of course there's the upside, the rewards. And with Amazon, it's their platform, and it's their playground, we'll call it. And we're essentially here to play on it. Right. So they make the rules, they have their regulations, they have their systems and their procedures. What we've done essentially is over the years, we've just evolved, and we've had to pivot many times because they make alterations, updates, changes. And we've got to be able to pivot in order to continue the success that we've seen and the success that we have. So by no means would I ever want to, present it like, oh my gosh, it's 100% guaranteed. But with that being said, we do have a very high success rate and are able to help people, create that additional stream and create that business. It's their own business. So first and foremost, I want to make that very clear. But on the Amazon platform, it allows for third-party sellers to come in, and why the drop shipping model just typically is well received for most people is because they don't have to hold inventory. People get kind of cold feet when they think, hey, if I invest in 500, 1,000, 1,500 units of this product, while it looked good through the product research phase, you don't know what tomorrow brings. You don't know if a competitor is going to bring a similar product to the marketplace. And now all of a sudden it's going to slash your sales and your growth and your, how quickly that revenue comes back to you. And in the business world, that alters your growth and your ability to scale and optimize and really see that success. So we do offer the FBA models. We do have a lot of success with it, but I'll be honest, we've seen that's why I'm sharing that scenario. We've seen that exact scenario where we get in and this product looks great. And then all of a sudden a week in, somebody else brings something in to compete with it, and it just slows things down.
Well, and that's because people have to buy that and ship it to Amazon, right? That's what happens. Like I have to go get it made, get it shipped, and then ultimately to an Amazon warehouse. So I have to buy the inventory ahead of time for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And then drop shipping is like on demand, correct?
And then that's exactly it. With drop shipping, you can have people come in and compete with you, and it's okay because you haven't invested in that product up front. We just move it over and optimize additional listings. So there's no harm, no foul. Yeah, the margins are smaller, but you could throw up 500 products on your store. And within those 500 products, even if 6 of them are selling, there's no harm in having, the 400 and some change other products on there that are sitting, because what we're doing is we're putting them into our systems and our automations. And when we see one of those rise to a scenario that we know, hey, let's go in and re-optimize and compete for this, win the buy box. And upon winning the buy box, take over the sales of that product, then that product starts to win. So that's the beauty behind having the store run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, is we're there to compete. And it's not the 4 hours that I did when I was still teaching and coaching, and I would lose a buy box while I was in my first hour, sports weight training class, and I couldn't do anything about it. Now there's a team to see it, catch it, optimize it, grow it, scale it.
So what is it that a client is responsible for? Do they have to? They got to do something, right? Like, what is a client responsible for if they're working with you and doing this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, the client's responsibility, the business owner's responsibility, is to bring capital, because capital's still required. When a product sells, you're not paid from Amazon but every 2 weeks. So you don't get that money right away. But we've got to get that product in the works and get it, fulfilled and shipped and get it to their doorstep. So you've got to have capital. And in this case, lines of credit. Find your favorite credit cards that have cash back, travel rewards, whatever's going to, be able to give you that extra bonus, because that's 100% the business owners. It's for them to use and enjoy. So when a product sells, let's say we sold a $100 just a bicycle, and it sold for $100 on Amazon, and we go over to the supplier and we're able to pick it up for $50 from the supplier. We still have to purchase it. So they have their line of credit there that's already on the system. So we go on, fill the order, process is there. So $50 is charged to their card. The product is shipped, it's received. The estimated delivery date plus 7 days. Then those funds, that $100 minus Amazon's fee of 15%, so $85 is released into the business owner's account to be paid out every 2 weeks. So then they receive that $85. They spent $50, and now they're going to pay their credit card off. Boom. Then that's what's leaving you with your net on the store.
And they would have to pay you some out of that too, I take it.
Yeah. So out of the profit, so the very bottom net, we charge 35% of their net. So if they made 10 grand that month, they're going to keep $6,500, and EAG makes $3,500, and we continue to rock and roll.
But on this one sale, let's say it's $85, right? And the net profit's 35. You guys are getting like 10, $12 out of that, essentially. And you just do that exactly. many times over and over again. So
that's exactly right.
Got it. Okay. And so, like I said before, a lot of things sound too good to be true, and usually they are, but occasionally you find something that is just a really good opportunity. You found a really good niche, that sort of thing, in what you're doing. What is, outside of Amazon changing algorithms and stuff, what is the real risk in working with a solution like yours? What's been the worst thing ever to go wrong?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's part of leveraging a system like Amazon. So because it's all AI run, it is hard as heck to get a human being on the phone that can actually help you with your account health and metrics and all that stuff. You can't get them on the phone for that. So it's left up to their AI system. And sometimes those AI systems trigger, they put a review on the account, and in those reviews, the account's open, it's active, but they hold your funds. So you don't get paid your next 2 weeks. Well, if you've got, a credit card bill and you need that money to come out, it's a business model that you want to have some cash sitting on the side that you can throw in, pay your card down, and know that that money's yours. It's coming, but Amazon's going to put and basically delay the delivery of it. Does it happen all the time? No, absolutely not. But does it happen? Oh, absolutely does. So it's kind of a, based on that, Amazon gets scammed regularly. They've got people that open up like digital bank accounts like Payoneer. They've got their office, people open up offices, virtual offices, and they create an LLC, in what seems like outer space. None of it's physical. So they get these businesses started up. They go in, they harvest a bunch of sales, and they try to race to their first payout. And if they get $800, $2,000, whatever, and they get paid, and then all of a sudden Amazon's red flag that these people are complaining they're not receiving their products, they shut the account down and then review it. But that scammer just ran away with $2,000. So Amazon puts their guard up. They have those systems in place. And a lot of times the honest businesses that are being run, the businesses we run, are 100% legal. And we are here to serve the client, knowing that we offer a service that in turn allows us to be very successful as well. So we end up getting picked on as well, just like any other seller occasionally. So that would be the kind of the scenario, is that you can be put in a situation where your account gets suspended and you didn't do anything, anything wrong to warrant the suspension, but Amazon is allowing computers and bots to make that decision. And then we go through the appeal process and work to get it open. And there's a delay there. So your business isn't running for those few days. Again, doesn't happen to everyone, but it's a reality in the space, and it's something that we're experienced in working with and take great pride in. We help people that are working with other companies and running their own stores. They come to us and say, hey, can you help me get this unsuspended? And, of course, for a small fee, we're absolutely happy to help and leverage. We have a couple of insiders on the Amazon space that actually work with us directly to help those people reinstate and be successful.
Okay, so that makes sense, and that's that happens with Facebook and everything too, with people in business on Facebook and everything. Exactly. So it's something you just have to navigate and learn.
Exactly.
Something else you mentioned when we first met that was intriguing too. We were kind of talking about this topic, and you had mentioned one way to avoid that or kind of get a better head start is to just buy an existing store. Can you explain that process and what that is?
Yeah, I'd say that's like our bread and butter. It's something that we really take great pride in. And again, it's in the best interest of our client, the business owner, and this is something I've worked on already this morning with a few of our clients, is locating an aged store, a store that's been around the block. For instance, this is probably the coolest store that I've located. Was last week we found a store that was opened in 2001. That's back when like Amazon was just a book, they were just slinging some books at that time. So this is like a very aged, old, mature account. Haven't seen anything that old. It's got several millions of dollars of sales in it. And it's got over 8,000 seller feedback, 4.9 out of 5 stars. What that means to us and what we're trying to do is, if you can bring that account over, transfer your LLC information into it, which we do for the client. We find the store, they get the LLC information to us, then we leverage our team to load it in there. And once you get into that, you have a store that's already checked so many boxes with Amazon. It's got, in this case, 20 years of a working relationship with Amazon. So it's shown its reliability and its commitment. And with those 8,000 plus seller feedbacks, in the dropshipping world, you're going to get poor seller feedback because you're essentially removing yourself from doing all the physical dirty work involved in product selection, picking, packing, shipping. We're leveraging other people and their businesses to do it. We're just essentially connecting the dots. And then an example is, this happened to a client where they had and this was on their store, and a customer bought it. It was a mini fridge. It was over 50 pounds. And I guess there's some policy that FedEx can't deliver something over 50 pounds up more than 3 or 4 steps. So They left it at the bottom of the stoop. It went somewhere in like New York. And the customer who received the product had no idea who to complain to. And they complained to the storefront on our client's Amazon store and left them a 1 out of 5 star review and said that, oh, the product didn't make it to the door, blah, blah, blah. And we couldn't get it removed. We asked Amazon, hey, can you remove this? This is clearly not our mistake. But it shows that stuff like that happens in this world, in just any business for that matter. But if you have a store that already has 8,000 seller feedbacks and they're all positive, you can take those hits and it's not going to derail your business. It's not going to derail your metrics. So that's what we love about the aged accounts. And it allows us to scale these stores much quicker, get people to cash flowing much quicker. And I'm talking, month one, it's possible to have cash flow coming in and to be making serious money in, the first couple of months, opposed to waiting 6 to 9, maybe even 12 months on a brand new store where you got to lay each brick and create the foundation.
No, that makes sense. I want to shift gears. I want to talk more about the just entrepreneurship in general with you, but is there anything else around the topic of selling online or Amazon, that we should know?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's one of those things that if it's not something that you're going to invest the time and learn and do it for yourself, is to vet out the group, the company, the organization that you're looking to help you with it. Because there's other people out there. And I hear horror stories from a lot of them. I've heard some of them that are pretty good. So we take great pride in our client support when you come on, making sure that you have somebody that you can call, somebody you can text, email. I mean, we're in this together. We want this to be a win-win. We want you to win because when they win, we win. And it's just a much more enjoyable outcome. So just make sure you're vetting the people. If it's not us, make sure you're vetting the people you're interested in.
Excellent. In fact, like I said, it's a great place to take a break. I want to take a 1-minute break. I want to come back and I want to dig in with you just on entrepreneurship in general, a lot of the lessons you've learned and that sort of thing. So we'll take that 1-minute break. We'll be right back. Misfits. Almost every small business faces competition from much larger companies in their industry. And in order to compete against them and win, small business owners and entrepreneurs need to arm themselves with the right tools and resources. That's why I want to tell you about a new podcast that I highly recommend called the David versus Goliath podcast. In each episode, host Adam DeGrade covers the 5 smooth stones that every business needs to slay the Goliath in their industry with. It's one of the best new podcasts for small businesses out there. David vs. Goliath is dedicated to helping small business leverage technology to compete and win against their large competitors. The show is packed with everything you need to succeed: insightful guest interviews, sales role-playing, and actionable tips you can apply directly to your business today. And if you're looking for a great episode to start with, I recommend checking out the 2-part series with Bob Tasca. It's practical, it's educational, and it's entertaining. If you're a small business owner or entrepreneur, the David vs. Goliath podcast is a must listen. Just search David vs. Goliath podcast on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You're really going to like this one. Enjoy it. So Kirk, before the break, we were talking about how, the entrepreneur side, right? So you built this business, you've done all of this, you did a great job explaining kind of how this works, the pitfalls, things to look out for, give a really good rounded view of really what it means to sell online in Amazon. But let's talk about just your entrepreneur journey. Like you said, you had to trial and error and fail and do all these things. I can't help but wonder, how has your teaching background helped you succeed as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, because it's your job as a teacher to be a leader and to be a motivator and to be somebody that these children who are growing and still molding their minds and their decision-making ability, to be someone that they can come to and be comfortable around. So that's essentially what I've been able to bring. That strength I've been able to bring into my, entrepreneurial venture and journey is that I want to be somebody that people can come to and talk to and bounce ideas off of and really express what it is they're trying to do and accomplish. And if it's something I can help with, I'm going to jump in head first, because there's no greater feeling in the world than helping somebody. And especially when you can do it to a point that it changes their life for the better, because it's only going to change, my life too for the better and experiences. So the teaching part of it is it's just gone hand in hand, really.
You have to think you employed that stuff when you were, like you said, you're doing like an hour, a couple hours a night, 3 nights a week, teaching people. You probably built your own lesson plan and your curriculum and all that stuff around it, and how you did that. So that's that's something that I love to teach as well. In fact, a lot of people listening know I've run a investing education business for going over 15 years now, teaching people how to derive income from the markets in some unique ways, and it's so much fun to teach and have the students get it, and their eyes light up, and if you're with them, or when they finally it sinks in, and I get emails all the time from around the world. Hey, I was practicing your techniques and this happened and it finally clicked for me, and I've gone on to do X, Y, and Z. And so it's pretty rewarding, but that also is so beneficial to building a business, because the mundane things in the business are not what we want to do, but are the things that matter most. Like, for example, like you talked about training these guys, you were actually creating standard operating procedures and essentially training them on it and duplicating that. Like, that's one of the most important things to build a business that's not so much a self-employed individual, right? That's a true business when you can grow and scale without the founder having to be part of it every day or needed for everything. And it's a really important aspect of building any business is to get and think about that from day one. I think you'd agree with that. I think a lot of people get to that later in the business. I know I have in businesses that I built, later on is when we got to that. And we should have done it from the very beginning. And if we had, we probably would have been even more successful than we were. But I think you did it relatively early on. It seems like it's made a big difference for you.
Well, yeah, that's right. And I won't sit there and try to, take the credit like it was the bigger goal. That bigger goal wasn't even on my radar. It was literally to just take over my personal store. And by building out the systems and, creating different operations so that they could follow and a way for me to follow along too, if I wanted to, but I didn't have to eventually. It just, once I saw the success happen and the time that I invested into ensuring that it happened correctly, it just led to the light bulb, the aha moment that, wow, we can continue to grow this team, but I can build out training modules just like the ones, we recorded everything that I did, before, and it's something that I've been able to grow, evolve, and alter as things have changed. But then bringing on bits and pieces, more people to the team and putting them through the training, and then getting them into live accounts eventually about 8 weeks after, they've been trained. And then next thing you know it, we've got just shy of 500 agents that work for EAG and operate these accounts that we're managing for our clients. So it wasn't the goal originally, but it quickly, the aha moment came for sure.
Any thoughts from what you learned on how to do that well for a business? Like, if you're advising a business or somebody starting out in a business around how to build these type of procedures and what to do, what are some good best practices that you would advise?
Yeah, it's not be afraid of outsourcing. I think it's one of those things that a lot of people kind of get, they kind of get a little weird when you talk to some people about it. Like, oh, no, I can't do that. I've got to keep my hand on the steering wheel. I totally get that. But I've found that there are people out there that are going to be better than you, and in this case, better than me in many of the things that I was doing, like client support. Not that I don't love people, but I was the jack of all trades. I was doing everything, originally on, other than being active in every single account, every single moment. I was doing everything on the outside. So I was taking the phone calls, the emails, and all of a sudden, I'm trying to juggle more than I could handle. So I ended up going out and finding somebody to build and run a client support team to handle all of our clients' questions, comments, concerns, and whatever it might be. And I've got nothing but compliments over that. And the people that have been employed there, they're better than me at that. So I want to be put in a position where I can be most successful. I want to put those individuals in a position that they can be most successful, so that for the greater good of the company, of the organization, of your service, that you're able to rise to the top and dominate in that space. If I didn't take the time to grow and position people to be in positions to win, I wouldn't be able to have scaled to where I am today. It'd still be in a very fun, a very, in a position that I would still be very prideful and happy with the success. But I'm even more prideful and happy with the success that I've been able to build and grow and outsource and really kind of automate the business. So it's something I encourage people to definitely look into.
What are some of the principles that you've relied on and used to build this business and get it to where it's at?
Yeah, integrity, because we're in the online space. People again get a little weird knowing that, like, hey, I'm not physically sitting in front of Kirk. I'm not physically sitting in front of, any, one member of my team that they may get to know in the course of operating their business and working with us, on this. So I think integrity, honesty, being available, while that may not be me personally at this point, because it'd be too much for me to juggle everybody. There is somebody that they are assigned to that they can call and just talk to on the phone if they just need to talk things through and understand, because it's their business. They want to understand, what does this mean? I'm reading this. We've got somebody that's going to train them, coach them, teach them, hold their hand through the process. We've got a team that's there to respond to their emails, their inquiries. So I think that's the most important piece for me in this arena, because we're in the online space and there is a lot of slimy opportunity out there that you can get mixed up in, and people put on a fake face to get you in and get your money. But we want to take that a step further, that when you come on, that you don't feel that lag where it's like, oh my gosh, I sent this money to him to help me run this business and I can't get a hold of somebody. No. You're going to be able to get a hold of somebody. You're going to be able to get them on the phone, put your mind at ease. And at that point, we're going to work together, because in the long run, I hope that with any of these clients, I have the opportunity to do business with them outside of e-commerce. That's going to allow them to grow, scale. It's going to allow me to up level and grow and scale. And I think that's the beauty in entrepreneurship.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think it is. It's amazing just when you work with other entrepreneurs and the magic that can happen. I always like, and I run masterminds in the entrepreneur space, and
Yeah.
have a small group masterminds. But it's amazing. Like, the best part of the mastermind isn't even the content we're giving and that sort of thing. It's the connections that are made between people and the business deals and things that can happen because of it. And it's always amazing when you get the right people together, what can happen. So I couldn't agree more with that. We're getting close to the end of our time, but I have to ask, and it kind of goes back to the Amazon side. But what's been the craziest thing? Like, what surprised you most on this entrepreneur journey that you just never expected, that hit you out of nowhere?
Yeah. I'd say, I mean, the craziest thing is that in this arena, that really the sky is the limit. If you can bring in and have the capital to grow and scale a business, it's completely possible for people to make. And this is, again, I wouldn't throw this in an advertisement, because then people are like, oh, you said I can make this amount of money. But it's possible to make $90,000 to $100,000 in a month for these clients who are doing nothing. It's possible. Does it happen every day? No, because they've got to be able to bring, one, a store that has the age and the history and the ability to align it, but also the capital and stuff like that. That blows my mind. That blows my mind, thinking that if I were to go back to, the 2012 and before Kirk Cooper, my head was in the mud. I didn't really, realize all the different opportunities that are out there for people to make money. And even if it's outside of, the e-commerce space, there are millions and millions of ways for people to go out there, provide value, number one, but in turn, create an income stream that could just blow your mind and change your life. Whatever it is your goals are, whatever you consider success. I know people consider success different things. For me, success is time freedom. It's not necessarily the money. The money is a vehicle, though, that allows me and keeps me out of a 9 to 5. So if I can create that time freedom for others, and help other people get there, it's an incredible thing.
Yeah, Kirk, I couldn't agree more, man. There's such a world of abundance out there that is just beyond what most people can fathom. But and you get a glimpse of it, it just is.
Yeah,
It's so inspiring. So,
it is.
great points, and great way to end it. In fact, before we get to your Misfit Three, we're going to just take one more 1 minute break, and we're going to come right back with Kirk's Misfit Three. Misfit entrepreneurs, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about a free resource I've created for you. After interviewing hundreds of the top entrepreneurs in their fields throughout the world, as well as looking at my own experience, I asked a simple question. What are the top most important lessons, habits, and traits that successful entrepreneurs practice? It was a really hard exercise as there are so many things, but I wanted to find the ones that were the most consistent across these amazing people. I started with about 30 lessons and narrowed them down to the top 10 and put it into a free ebook for you. It's called The Top 10 Lessons to Thrive and Succeed. The book shares each lesson with concrete examples and action steps of how you can implement them in your life. To get it, all you have to do is go to www.misfitentrepreneur.com/lessons. That's www.misfitentrepreneur.com/lessons. The lessons are proven to work time and time again, and my goal is for you to be able to use them to help you reach your next level in your life and your entrepreneur journey. So go out, grab your copy, and feel free to send me a note, as I'd love to hear your feedback and which lesson is your favorite. Here's to your success. Okay, it's time for Kirk's Misfit 3. These are the 3 things that he wants you to take away that you can put in your life, your business, make a difference for yourself starting today. And the way that I always frame this to every guest that comes on the show is I say, hey, look, if you were going to leave this earth tomorrow and you could only leave behind your 3 best pieces of wisdom for the generations that come after you to help them live their best life, what would those be? So, Kirk, what are your Misfit 3?
Yeah. So based in mind around the entrepreneurial, approach, number one, it is okay to fail when whatever you do, being a student, being a business owner, failing is a part of, creating your path and being successful. So I think it's okay to fail. Second one, big thing for me that I found that's allowed me to create the success that I've been able to see is outsourcing. It is get out there, outsource, build a team, grow, scale, but first lay your foundation and then look to outsource. I think outsourcing is huge for future success and growth. The last thing, always be looking for additional streams of income, different ways. If you think of it as a chair, if you lost a leg on a chair or a table, there's a good chance that the chair is still gonna, or the table is gonna still be able to balance. Think of that with your income streams as well. If you're able to go out and create multiple streams of income, if one were to ever be abruptly shut off, you still have an ability to flourish and to grow and to be successful.
Kirk, that's an excellent Misfit 3, especially that last one. Again, such great points. If people do want to learn more about you, where should they go?
Yeah, head over initially for EAG is www.ecomautomationgurus.com. That's ECOM, just the one M, ECOM, automationgurus.com. Yeah, you can go on there and schedule a call. It's all just free discovery calls. We want people to feel comfortable with the space, feel comfortable with EAG and what it is we do. You can go on and find me on Instagram. That's at Kirk Cooper CEO. And you can check me out on Facebook as well. You can find me on Facebook, Kirk Cooper, and love to connect. Like I said, always looking for new relationships and opportunities, whether it's e-com or beyond, always looking to grow, scale, and up level my life and others. So I appreciate you having me on, Dave.
Excellent, man. Well, we'll link to all that in the show notes so that people can find it the best show notes in the business for reasons I'll talk about more in a second. But first, for those of you that are new to Misfit Nation, it's your first episode with us, welcome. It is such an honor to have you with us. And I hope you become a regular listener and a subscriber. And for all of you that are with us week in and week out, I cannot thank you enough for your support of the show. You are what makes this go in over 150 countries every single week. So thank you. And then make sure and go out and check out the show notes for this episode. They are the best in the business. Why? Because I do them myself. I actually, as part of my personal growth routine, go back through these episodes and take the best insights, the best things that I'm finding by listening and taking it away from people like Kirk. So go out and check those out. And then also go out and give this episode a rating and review. Help share Kirk's message, because we all know, and I say this in every episode, one great episode can change someone's life. Maybe something he shared today was that missing link you were looking for to get to your next level. So share this with others. And again, Kirk, can't thank you enough for coming on, sharing all of your wisdom and insight today.
I really do appreciate it, Dave. This is awesome. You do a great job, and yeah, looking forward to connecting.
Thank you, everyone, for attending this episode of The Misfit Entrepreneur. We look forward to seeing you in further episodes. If you haven't done so, make sure you definitely check out the Misfit Minute. You can access it right from our site. Every Friday, you get some of the best tips and tricks from some of the top Misfit entrepreneurs out there doing their thing. We look forward to seeing you in next week's edition. And in the meantime, have some fun.